She signed the papers without reading them. No tears, no questions. Just her signature in 3 places, and it was done. The men in suits watched her like she might break. Her manager looked away. Everyone believed they were witnessing a termination. They had no idea they were watching the birth of an empire. 24 hours earlier, this woman had been publicly destroyed, snapped at like a dog, mocked in front of 50 people, and she'd said nothing. But here's what nobody knew. Silence isn't surrender. Sometimes it's the calm before someone's world gets flipped upside down. And when that billionaire walks through those doors in exactly 3 minutes, everyone's about to learn the most expensive lesson of their lives. Stop! Snap! The sound cut through Ashford's prime like a gunshot. The pianist's fingers froze. 50 conversations died. Every head turned toward table 9, toward the woman with diamond nails raised in the air, toward the waitress standing perfectly still, water pitcher trembling in her hands. Elena Cortez, 26, had been invisible her entire life. 3 years scrubbing office floors, 2 years at a factory, 6 months selling coffee at bus stations. But 4 weeks ago, she got hired here. For the first time, her uniform had her name stitched in gold. Elena Cortez. It made her visible. Tonight, she was learning visibility could destroy you. Vivian Cross owned Table 9 like she owned everything else. Former Miss Universe finalist. 3 million Instagram followers. Brand ambassador for Cartier, Dior, Lamborghini. She was beautiful in the way that ruins lives without trying. Across from her sat Marcus Ashford, 32, billionaire heir, Forbes under 30. The man who'd built his family's restaurant into a global empire. Right now, he looked uncomfortable. Elena approached their table. "May I start you with still or sparkling water?" Vivian didn't look up from her phone. Still, not sparkling, obviously not tap. And maybe try not to breathe so loud. Some of us are trying to enjoy our evening. Elena's chest tightened. Of course, right away. She turned to leave. Snap, snap. Now, Vivian said, eyes still on her screen. Not in 5 minutes. Now. The restaurant went dead silent. Elena's hands shook as she poured. A single drop hit the tablecloth, but her face stayed calm. "Is there anything else I can get for you?" Vivian finally looked up. Her eyes traveled from Elena's worn shoes to her faded name tag. She smiled like a knife. "Actually, yes. Get me a server who doesn't look like they crawled out of a thrift store. This uniform is embarrassing. Do you practice that pathetic smile in the mirror? Or does poverty just make you naturally submissive?" Someone gasped. Marcus went pale. "Vivian, stop," she laughed, bright and cruel. "Relax, baby. I'm being nice. Girls like her live for moments like this. It's the closest they'll ever get to our world." She waved her hand, diamonds catching light. "You can go now, sweetheart. Try not to trip." Elena stood there for 3 seconds that felt like 3 hours. Every instinct screamed to fight back, to throw the water, to scream. But she didn't. She straightened her spine, lifted her chin, looked Vivian dead in the eyes. "I hope the rest of your evening is as pleasant as you are." Then she walked away. Head high, steps steady, not running. Just walking. In the kitchen, servers stared at her like she'd performed magic. "Are you okay?" Elena nodded. She washed her hands, staring at her reflection in the steel sink. She whispered to herself, "This won't be forever." She had no idea how right she was. The next morning, Elena woke at 5 to her neighbor's baby crying through paper-thin walls. Her studio apartment was freezing. The heater had died weeks ago. She stared at the ceiling, replaying last night. The snap, the laughter, the humiliation. But she didn't feel ashamed. She felt clear. Something had shifted. When she arrived at Ashford's prime, the air felt wrong. Thick, tense. Her friend Lila grabbed her arm, eyes panicked. "Elena, Victor's been looking for you since 6. Corporate called. They mentioned last night. Oh God, I think you're getting fired." Elena's stomach dropped, but her face stayed calm. "What did they say?" "There are men in suits in his office. They've been here since before we opened." "Elena, I'm so sorry." Elena squeezed her hand. "Whatever happens, I'll be fine." At 8:15, Victor appeared. His face was gray. "Elena, could you come to the office?" 2 men in charcoal suits stood by the desk. One held a leather folder with the Ashford crest. The other held an expensive pen. Victor wouldn't meet her eyes. The taller man spoke. "Miss Elena Cortez?" "Yes. We're here on behalf of Ashford Holdings. You're required to sign these documents. Immediately." Victor's voice cracked. "I'm very sorry, Elena. This is out of my hands. You've been excellent here." "Truly. But when people like that complain..." He trailed off. "May I read them first?" "Of course." Elena opened the folder. Legal language blurred, then sharpened. "Transfer of employment. Effective immediately. Ashford Corporate Headquarters. Director of Guest Relations. Annual salary." She read the number 3 times. That was more than she'd made in 3 years. Comprehensive benefits. Company housing allowance. Stock options. Her hands trembled. "I don't understand." "What is this?" The second man spoke. "It's exactly what it appears to be. A promotion. You start Monday at corporate. Your supervisor will be Mr. Ashford himself." Victor's head snapped up. "Wait, what? This isn't a termination?" "No, ma'am. If you accept, sign pages 3, 7, and 12. Elena stared at the pen, at the papers, at the life-changing number. This didn't make sense. People like her got fired, not promoted. But then she remembered Marcus's face last night. The discomfort. The way he'd said stop. Maybe he'd seen something. Elena picked up the pen and signed. Clear, confident. Elena Maria Cortez. The men gathered their papers. "Your employee ID will be ready Friday. 15th floor, suite 1502. Welcome to Ashford Holdings, Miss Cortez." They left. Victor sat, stunned. Elena stood, smoothed her uniform. "Thank you for the opportunity. I learned a lot here." He found his voice. "What just happened?" Elena headed for the door, then paused. "Sometimes the people who underestimate you end up being your biggest gift. They push you toward where you were always meant to be." She walked out with her head high, but the whispers started immediately. "She's trying not to cry. Poor thing got fired. Vivian really destroyed her." Lila rushed over, eyes red. "Oh, Elena, I'm so sorry. Do you need help packing?" Elena took her hands. "I'm more than okay, I promise. But I need to finish my shift." "Wait, they didn't fire you?" "Not exactly. I'll explain later." And Elena worked. For 4 hours, she took orders, poured wine, cleared plates, smiled at guests. Everyone waited for her to break. But she just kept working. By noon, they'd all accepted it. She got fired, but she's finishing with dignity. Victor posted the job opening. Servers discussed who'd take her tables. No one knew the truth. Then at 1:30, everything changed. The front doors opened. The restaurant went silent. Because pulling up outside was a black Mercedes S-Class. And stepping out, alone, without Vivian, was Marcus Ashford. He wore a navy suit. His jaw was set. His eyes focused. He walked past the hostess, past the manager, past shocked diners, straight to Elena, Miss Cortez. "May I speak with you privately?" She turned. "Mr. Ashford." "Of course." The walk to the office felt like a mile. Every eye followed them. The whispers were vicious. He came to fire her himself. That's so cruel. She must have really messed up. Inside, Marcus closed the door, exhaled. For a moment, he looked nothing like a billionaire. "Just tired. I owe you an apology. A real one. Face to face. You don't need to." "Yes, I do."
What Vivian did was unacceptable, cruel, and I sat there and let it happen. I was more worried about her reaction than your dignity. That makes me just as guilty." Elena stayed quiet. "I've spent 12 hours thinking about it. The composure, the grace. Most people would have quit or fought back. You did neither. And that line you gave her?" He smiled slightly. "I hope the rest of your evening is as pleasant as you are." That was brilliant. Elena's lips twitched. It seemed appropriate. It showed real character. He straightened. "I've been looking for someone to head guest relations across all properties. Someone who understands real service. Last night, I watched you get humiliated and you never lost yourself. That's rare. That's valuable. So this is real? The promotion?" He pulled a badge from his pocket. "Elena Cortez, Director of Guest Relations. Your office is on the 15th floor. You'll report directly to me." She stared at her name printed on it. "Why would you do this for me?" "Because I built this company on the idea that how you treat people matters. Then, I watched my girlfriend treat you like garbage. If I let that slide, everything I've built means nothing." He paused. "And because you deserve it. 4 weeks here, and your customer scores are the highest we've ever recorded. Guests ask for you by name. And Vivian?" His expression hardened. "No longer a concern." He pulled another envelope from his jacket. "Formal termination of our partnership." She represented several brands. "That's done. Effective this morning." Elena opened it. "Terminated," stamped across Vivian's name. "You ended things? Over this?" "Not just this, this was the final straw. She treats people like props. I kept making excuses because she looked right on my arm. Turns out, compromising your values for convenience gets complicated. Long silence." Then Elena smiled. "I'll take the job." He extended his hand. She shook it. Firm, equal. When they stepped back into the restaurant, Marcus's voice carried. "Miss Cortez will no longer be part of your team, Victor. She's been transferred to corporate headquarters. Effective immediately. Send her paperwork to HR with a generous performance bonus." Victor's face cycled through shock. "Transferred? To corporate?" Marcus turned to leave, then paused. "Victor, make sure the staff knows. When someone handles adversity with grace, we promote them. When someone treats our people with cruelty, we remove them. Make sure everyone understands which category they want to be in." Chaos erupted. Lila screamed. "Promoted? To corporate?" Line cooks cheered. Miguel cried and laughed. Elena returned her apron, cleaned her station, collected her tips, over $300. Hugged Lila. "Thank you for being a real friend." Lila was crying. "You deserve all of it." Outside, the Mercedes waited. The driver opened the door. "Miss Cortez, Mr. Ashford asked me to take you home." Elena slid into the leather seats. As the car pulled away, she looked back. The restaurant got smaller and smaller until it disappeared. She wasn't running from anything. She was driving toward everything. Across the city, Vivian's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She'd just woken up. She opened Instagram and her blood ran cold. Breaking. Billionaire Marcus Ashford ends partnership with model Vivian Cross after disturbing incident. Sources say Cross was verbally abusive to staff. She scrolled. Video footage from someone's phone. Her voice. Her words. "Girls like her live for moments like this." The caption. "When keeping it bougie goes wrong." 5 million views. Her texts exploded. Her publicist. "We need to talk. Now." Her agent. "Call me immediately." Her emails made her sick. Dior. Terminating your contract. Cartier. Moving in a different direction. Lamborghini. Partnership canceled. One after another. Her entire empire, built on image and influence, collapsing in real time. She tried calling Marcus. Blocked. She threw her phone. It shattered. Twitter was trending. #Vivian Cross. #Karma is real. The tweets were brutal. Imagine being so insecure you humiliate a waitress. Beauty is your only personality trait. The waitress had more class. She looked around her penthouse. Designer clothes, expensive art, all bought with brand deals that were now gone. For the first time in years, Vivian was alone. Truly alone. No cameras, no crowds, no one left to impress. And in that silence, she heard the echo of her own cruelty. She'd thought beauty was armor. She was wrong. Monday morning, Elena stood outside the Ashford Tower, 40 stories of glass and steel. She wore a new navy dress. Her heart pounded. The lobby was marble and gold. 15th floor. The elevator felt like flying. When the doors opened, glass walls, modern art, city views. A woman in a sharp suit greeted her. Elena Cortez? I'm Amanda, Mr. Ashford's assistant. Let me show you to your office. At the end of the hall was a door. Elena Cortez, Director of Guest Relations. Inside was a desk, a computer, a window view. On the desk, a handwritten note. Marcus is writing, "Welcome to the team. Looking forward to seeing what you build here." She sat down. The chair was comfortable. Hers. A knock. Marcus stood in the doorway. "How does it feel?" "Unreal. You'll get used to it." He handed her a folder. Inside were printed reviews, guest feedback, all mentioning her. Elena was wonderful. Best service in years. She made our dinner perfect. Page after page. You did this in 4 weeks. Imagine what you'll do in 4 years. Elena's eyes stung. Thank you for seeing me. Marcus shook his head. You made yourself impossible to ignore. There's a difference. He checked his watch. I've got a meeting. Amanda will take care of you. And Elena? You belonged here all along. Some people just take longer to arrive. Welcome home. 3 months later, Hospitality Weekly called. We're doing a feature on rising executives. Your name came up several times. Would you be interested? I'd be honored. The article ran the next week. From server to executive, Elena Cortez's remarkable rise. It talked about her programs, her innovations, 30% reduction in staff turnover, increased satisfaction across all properties. Her phone exploded. Lila, you're famous. Miguel, Mija, you're a star. Her brother, Mom would be so proud. And one she didn't expect. Victor, you deserved all of this. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. That evening, Elena stood by her office window, watching city lights flicker on. She thought about Vivian, who'd disappeared from social media, who'd lost everything. Elena felt no satisfaction, just understanding, because Vivian had given her a gift. The humiliation had pushed her. The cruelty had motivated her. The snap had set her on this path. Sometimes the people who hurt you help you most, not because they meant to, but because they showed you who you didn't want to be. Elena's phone buzzed. Marcus, dinner meeting tomorrow with investors. I'd like you there. Your perspective would be valuable. She typed back, I'll be there. She looked at her reflection in the window. The girl from the broken apartment. The girl who'd been invisible for 26 years. That girl was still there, but different, stronger, free. Elena whispered, "This won't be forever." But this time, the words meant something different. The success, the office, the title. None of it would last forever. But the lesson would. Your worth isn't determined by how others treat you. It's determined by how you treat yourself. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. Grace under fire is the rarest power. And karma doesn't rush. It waits. And when the time is perfect, it delivers justice with surgical precision. So if someone has ever underestimated you, remember Elena. The snap of someone's fingers might be the sound of your life changing. The people who look down on you are standing on borrowed ground. And the best revenge isn't getting even. It's becoming someone you're proud of. Because when you rise with grace instead of falling with bitterness, you don't just win, you transform. And that's something no one can ever take away. Have you ever been underestimated? Ever had someone treat you like you were nothing? What did you do? Drop your story in the comments. Your experience might be what someone else needs to hear today. If this moved you, hit that like button. Share it. Subscribe to Billionaire Bedtime Stories for more tales about karma and resilience. Remember, the world is watching, not to see if you'll fall, but to see how you'll rise. Make it unforgettable. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button right now. Your support helps us share more powerful stories like Elena's. Subscribe to Billionaire Bedtime Stories and hit that bell so you never miss a story about karma, justice, and rising above. Drop a comment below. Tell us where you're watching from and share your own story of being underestimated. Because your voice matters. Your rise matters. See you in the next story. Until then, keep your head up. Your crown is waiting.